Good afternoon, everyone. Today I thought about talking and taking up a topic which is mental efficiency, which actually could be very complex but can be turned to simplicity. I, Tripti Somani, I'm privileged to be speaking in front of you all. From day one, I was very passionate about two things. Dancing, I loved it. And journalism. I think I used to watch a lot of criminal series and, those mysteries. Always used to be so appealing. But you know how the societal pressure is? So I definitely opted for academics. But to reach to academics was a challenge. For everyone, it could be as small as waking up early in the morning, or as complex as a relationship at home or at job. It's actually a thought process. And actually, I could realize that when something happened in my life. A turning point for sure. But how was the question? Unfortunate moment. I had a perception about me that I'm weak. I am, a very dull, boring. Nobody wants to speak to me. This was all around my head, it was always around me. I'm short, conscious about that. So, all these perceptions, and when you have siblings who are smart and very good in academics, you definitely have to do something about it. Right? There came a moment where I thought in K8 standard, not advisable, this is my experience, I thought I'll fail. I'll actually fail in my history exam. Itna dar lag raha tha. Kya hoga? What will happen? And mujhe uska solution sirf ek hi nazar aaya. And that was to carry a chit and cheat. It seems like I had no other option. And I did, and I was caught. I remember every second of that day and moment. I remember that my teacher actually nudged my head like this, and she was like, Tripti, you did this? And everything was on a standstill. I know it was the most embarrassing moment because you cannot have an eye contact with your friends, classmates, teachers, and most importantly, your family, your parents who you disappoint the most. That day I came back home. I think कुछ तो उन्होंने टच किया जो मेरा अटकी हुई चीज़ चलने लगी. And it was a eureka moment for me. And today I stand tall in front of you, speaking about my journey, confident enough, well accomplished in academics, someone who used to just pass, graduated, someone from Bareilly, UP, graduated from Shri Ram College, chartered accountant, doing a lot of other social initiatives. So, what actually happened that day is the most important question. Did something change? How am I today a new brand me? And how did I, how did it happen? How did I move from the Steve Jobs who was fired from Apple to the same Steve Jobs who restructured Apple and was the disruptor? nothing changed. Nothing actually changed. It was my thought process, a mental block, which I started dealing with. That unfortunate moment, how I converted all my energies, negative energies, into something which could be worth considering. It is all our thought process which we have to deal with at that particular moment of time. And it happened. It is actually something, our thought process is actually like something like a needle. A needle, when actually small and insignificant, if flying horizontal. But the same needle, if used with pressure, can act as a medication, right? It is up to us how we consider our thought process, how we channelize our energy, the negative. Instead, it's actually so natural when you have some raw emotions. If you don't channelize them in the right direction, they can actually lead you to a depressive life, and if dealt properly, can actually be a turning point in your destiny. I mean, your complete scenario, thought process changes. So that was me. That was my story, which brought a major turnaround for me. Now, it's about how we all are actually, how do we achieve these mental efficiency? How can we actually be, with our thought process, by using our energies in the right direction, we all can be someone like Einstein, Warren Buffett, or Sachin. They all are like us. The energies which they have used in the thought process they had made them what they are. Do you remember, most of the time when we take up a challenge, or we plan to take up a challenge, we ask ourselves, or we tell people, we cannot, we normally end up saying, I don't think so, we can do this. And that's it. Most of the time we end up saying that. But the same people, once you take up that challenge, are the people who would be asking you that how you actually did this. And it's happening. As a person, I am managing around 4 roles. As a wife, as a mother, I'm having my 2 projects. I'm managing all of them. The people actually are same people who doubted your capabilities. They ask you, the only question they ask you, how you managed to do something what you've been doing. So it's our thought process, which we have to, deal with. Few things which I used and which actually benefit me, which brought a lot of advantage during my life, are 2 things which I would like to share with you to bring those mental efficiency. Every second, and this is a proven report by Psychology Today, 12,000 to 50,000 thoughts per day comes to everyone's mind. You sitting here sleeping, getting up early in the morning, sitting with your teacher, standing in front of your father, you have some thoughts which are still coming in your mind, and sometimes you just give a skip. But I would suggest start penning down. Because what you write today, there's a big possibility subconsciously your future is defined by what you thought 10 years back. Everyone thinks about it. You're sitting here, you're thinking something else as well. Khane mein kya hai shayad at this time, but so we are thinking. We are talking to someone, we are thinking. We are sleeping, we are thinking. Right? So many thoughts. You all are possibility thinker. That's what my point is. We all are. Till the time I wasn't introduced to this concept, lot of thoughts used to come and go away. But I started writing them down. When you see your timeline 10 years after this, you will realize how all this was already in your life. What you were thinking is actually coming in front of you. So start penning down in a piece of paper whatever comes to your mind. Second important thing, hope you all recognize this man, a fakir, who comes to your door, takes anything you offer, right? You have to be him. Why? Because every time you meet a person, take one good quality of that person. Maybe you write it down on a piece of paper in front of that, the name and one good quality you see in another person. Lot of our negative energies, which can, if channelized properly, can bring mental efficiency, can be overcome if we concentrate on a simple aspect that everyone we meet has something unique about them. Something which we can definitely, if tomorrow we are employed or we start our own ownership or we have our own business, we definitely need a team. Whether right now you need a team. How do you select your teammates? You always try to find out one good quality which will be of advantage at the time you're creating your team, right? Similarly, whether it's your business or you're doing a job, as you grow, you will need a team, and that plays a very important role. So this one unique quality of yours can actually help you and actually bring a lot of returns in future. Going back to one of my examples, for me, I consider that I've gone through a lot of challenges. Coming from a place called Bareilly to Delhi, then building yourself, lot of challenges, and everyone faces a lot of challenges. For me, a challenge was when I lost my dad, just 2 months before my marriage. Why this was a challenge? Because it was something irreversible. I cannot get my dad back. It was the biggest challenge. Till the time I feel for me, I've gone through so many challenges, but this was definitely the biggest one because for me it was to overcome it. Every time I used to drive back from my office to my home, I used to end up crying in the car. Every time I used to sit alone, I used to just end up crying, and depressive is what I could see myself turning to. I was at that time working with PricewaterhouseCoopers as a chartered accountant in the financial diligence. For me, it was important that I'm busy. Otherwise, I'll end up being a depressive me. My senior manager, it was my marriage, my dad expired just a few months back, asked me, why don't you take a leave, take rest, be at peace? I said, no, this is no time when I take rest. If I take rest, what I can think of is only that I've lost someone who was everything for me. I need to be busy. I have to ensure that the time when I'm using my thought process, I use for the right things so that I'm not blaming God every single day, why me? Right? So I used all my energies, all my thought process for the greater cause. I started thinking how I can keep myself busy. I overcame that. Second important thing which I could correlate to my journey is the pregnancy phase. As a male or female, as a female, in our head, we consider it as a mental block, right? 9 months pregnancy, we all know that 2 months we will not be up and running because of that pregnancy. We will not be so fine to do things. But we know that 9 months are there. After that, we know that 2 months we won't be able to work. We know that there is a time where we can plan. I did that. I made sure that 9 months I created my team, I created my project, ensured that when I'm on bed, I just have to coordinate on phone. Within 40 days of my pregnancy, I was at home, I was like, where do I use my, how do I use this pain something to gain. I said, okay, fine, let's do one thing is get my daughter's passport in 40 days. Timelines, thought process, will with preparedness actually led me to a situation where I could overcome what people consider as limitations. I think it's part and parcel of everyone's story. Everyone has something unique and a different way to deal with situation. You have to create your own stories. But at the end, it's important that you are capable of saying one thing in front of everyone and to yourself, I can do everything, anything. Right? That is what I want that everyone has to understand, believe that you can actually make a difference and you can do whatever you want to. Thank you so much.